the latest business news with Marcus Carlson.
Hi there, Melissa. Thank you very much. And we're going to start in Ukraine and with the fear that its economy is suffering during that political standoff. As you just heard, the Prime Minister of Ukraine and his government have now resigned. The World Bank believes that the Ukrainian economy flatlined in 2013 with zero growth. And there are warnings that the political uncertainty in the country could dent the country's economic prospects further. Delano de Souza has more.
For over 2 months, protests like these have gripped Ukraine's capital. At the heart of the protests, the rejection of a free trade agreement with the European Union by Ukraine's president, Viktor Yanukovych. Ukraine's economy was in need of a recovery before the protests. Analysts say the situation has worsened the uncertainty.
There are indications that business activity, investment activity is getting slower because people are quite uncertain on what would come next and so on and so forth. So I believe that this political turmoil might have impact on GDP.
Ukraine came close to bankruptcy in 2013 before Russia stepped in with the controversial €11 billion bailout package. Protests in the capital have forced certain businesses and ministries to remain shut, fueling fears the unrest will force the economy to contract even further.
The economy can still revive because, fundamentally, Ukrainian economy still has a lot of long-term potential. But there should be some short-term pains, that's quite clear as well, because these imbalances, like exchange rate, like current account deficit, they should be corrected.
Currently, Kiev does not have a preferential trade agreement with Moscow. However, the country remains reliant on imports of Russian gas. Vying for closer ties with the EU, the opposition is looking to improve transparency and to change the way business is done.
Moving to Western Europe now, the British economy expanded at its fastest rate since the financial crisis last year. The UK economy expanded by 1.9% to be specific in 2013 on 2012. The British government says that the growth shows that its economic plan is working. Economists agree that the British recovery is gathering pace, but they also voice concerns of growing imbalances in the UK, and that includes rapidly rising property prices. We're going to take a look at the stock markets on the back of that. For the past few sessions, we've seen worries about emerging markets weighing on shares globally. But US stocks, they're rising for the first time in 4 sessions this Tuesday, bar the Nasdaq, which is flatlining. And we're going to take a look at why in just a moment. Investors in the United States, they're looking ahead to the result of a 2-day Federal Reserve meeting in Washington. That will be the last meeting, or it is the last meeting, chaired by Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke. Now, European shares, they also recovered on Tuesday after hitting several week lows on Monday. The FTSE 100 in London up around about 1/3%, whereas the CAC 40 was up 2/3%. Let's bring you up to date with some corporate stories that we're watching for you this Tuesday. German shares, they were helped as Siemens reported a 20% rise in fourth quarter profits. The German company made just under 1.5 billion euros between October and December 2013. Siemens makes products from trains to medical equipment, and it's seen as a German bellwether. The firm also warned of challenging markets during its current financial year. Let's take a look then at why the Nasdaq is flatlining this session. Shares in Apple, they're falling after the company's first quarter results disappointed. The electronics giant made 13 billion euros during the quarter and sold a record number of iPhones and iPads. Analysts had expected even higher sales figures though, and Apple also issued a cautious outlook for the second quarter. And the chief executive of IKEA says there are positive signs of consumers being willing to spend more. That includes Southern Europe, which he says shows good signs of activity. It came as the flat pack giant reported a record full-year profit of 3.3 billion euros. OK, we talked about the UK economy before. Even as the British economy is looking up, the Queen's household is coming under pressure to become more efficient. Lawmakers, they say that the royal household needs to become more entrepreneurial and look at potential job cuts. A report from a British parliamentary committee also says that the household needs more cash to repair crumbling palaces. One suggestion from the report is to open up Buckingham Palace in London to visitors more often. Every little helps, as a famous supermarket chain in the UK says. Back to you, Melissa.
That we won't name at this point. Thank you very much
No.
indeed, Marcus Carlson.